All right. I am super honored, super excited to have Richard Kaufman here on the Move Happy Movement podcast and vlog. Thank you so much for taking the time today.
Oh, it's my pleasure and my honor. God is so good.
Amen. Amen. So a little bit about your background. You served 23 years, I believe, in the Army as well as the Army National Guard. You've done phenomenal things for the nutrient industry in GNC. You've also worked with, I want to say, the heavyweight champion of the world at one point. Did I read that correctly in there?
Yep.
So we'll talk a little bit about how you got connected in that field. And just overall, you've overcome, I would say, a lot of adversity, and your attitude is just so positive in regards to God is so good, despite going through recently some partial sight loss and vision loss, and just still having that positive attitude. So really honored to be able to share your story today with my listeners.
Well, I think this is going to be fun. So
Absolutely. For those that haven't heard your story, don't know about you, let's talk about your beginnings. So a little bit of your origin story, if you will.
all right, I'll give you a quick down and dirty. I grew up very poor. Mother was an addict. Father left at 3 months old.
Oh, wow.
And, my mother was a nurse. And so she worked weird schedules. So a lot of times I was by myself and as a child.
Mm-hmm.
And had my first case of alcohol at 12, full-blown alcoholic by the age of 13.
Wow.
Joined the military, became a drug addict and alcoholic. After 2.5 years, they threw my ass out.
Mm-hmm.
Went back in the military, almost got thrown out again. I was due to be discharged on the end of September of 2001.
Mm-hmm.
But because the events of 9/11, it changed my whole life and my perspective on everything. Because where I'm sitting right now, I'm actually overlooking where the Twin Towers once stood.
Wow.
So it totally destroyed me, but it changed my life that day.
Yeah.
I like I said, I was due to be thrown out, but I asked for forgiveness from my commanders for like the 6th time. But this time they saw something different in me, and they kept me. And I became soldier of the year eventually.
Wow.
Became a non-commissioned officer. And then I got hurt on duty, and that's how I became blind. So if you guys can see me, I can't see you.
Mm-hmm.
And the military thinks, well, if I can't see, you can't shoot. So they medically discharged me on Memorial Day 2012. And that was the day I attempted suicide. Thank God I didn't go through it.
Amen.
And that's when I started getting into therapy, helping others. And now that's what I do full time. I've also been clean and sober 32 years as of January 2nd this year.
Wow.
So now it's just about helping others and creating impact and letting people know that you're not alone.
Yes.
And the 3 most important words in the English language are today I decide.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you make a decision, then all you have to do is act upon it.
Yes.
So that's my mantra, is today I decide. And that's the name of the mental health summit that we'll talk about in a little bit.
Yes.
So that's a quick down and dirty about me.
Yes, that's a beautiful down and dirty. And thank you so much for your authenticity. And I'm so glad that you didn't complete the act of ending your life, because we wouldn't be here today, and you wouldn't be able to impact all the lives that you have since that moment.
And the story is pretty incredible about what happened that morning that saved me.
You want to talk a little bit about that? I feel like we should open up. Let's do it.
I get emotional, and that's okay, because I'm okay in my manhood.
Yeah.
I don't have to talk about that.
Yeah.
So anyway, once I got back in the military for a second time, I tried to become the ultimate soldier. I went to every school. I took every class. Everything they asked me to do, I did.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got hurt and they told me, Sergeant Kaufman, you're no longer in the military. We need your ID. Everything I built up to that point was being Sergeant Kaufman.
Mm-hmm.
And that moment that got stripped away from me, because not only did I lose my sight, I lost my career.
Yep.
And I didn't know who Richard was.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a new truck like a couple weeks before that. And 'cause I was planning this. I called my wife because I knew I was never going to talk to her again because I knew I was going to commit suicide.
Yeah.
And my was, because we were going to meet each other down the shore and take the kids on the boardwalk and stuff.
Mhm.
So I figured I'd get in the truck, get on the highway. As soon as the truck hit 100 miles an hour, I was going to put on the cruise control and just turn on the radio and shut my eyes. And eventually I'll go off and hit one of the concrete barriers.
Mm.
So I got in the truck. I called my wife because I knew I would never talk to her again. And I hit 100 miles an hour. I closed my eyes.
Mhm.
I felt the truck veering over, and it
Mhm.
started to veer over and veer over.
Mhm.
And now I had a 9-month-old baby at this time.
Mm.
And the song called I Saw God Today came on.
Mm.
And it hit my heart. And my eyes opened and I jerked the steering wheel. And it was at that moment that I decided to be a daddy
Mhm.
instead of a sister. And that's when I started to I called my wife. I said, I'm on my way. We need to talk. And when we got there, I said, honey, I need help.
Mhm.
And that Monday, I made an appointment to see my therapist. And I still go to the same therapist today.
Mhm.
And the funny thing is, because my wife would crack up and joke about it, but I went to go see the therapist that Monday morning. And I said, honey, you're not going to believe who my therapist is. She's like, who? Her name was Dr. Seuss.
I love it.
SOS, not Dr.
Uh-huh.
Seuss. But I've been seeing her for 10 years, and that's when my life really started turning around. But thank God that one song, turned everything around. And
Amen. Wow.
so God works. Sometimes you just have to listen. Sorry
Yeah.
about all
Wow.
emotion.
No, never apologize for being human. And thank you again, for being real. As you were sharing that, it brought to mind actually my grandfather, my mom's dad was World War II veteran. And I don't hear too many stories from her upbringing because there was a lot of pain within that. But he came back to a family of 5 kids and couldn't hack it and ended up leaving the family. And they found he had died of some sort of cause. And she was about 10, I want to say. A lot of veterans go through this. They feel, not just veterans, but I think with the time of everything that we're talking about, they're 10 times, if not more, likely to contemplate suicide because y'all have seen things that the rest of us don't have to deal with on a daily basis. And the conversations between the battles and the emails that you get and the commanding officers telling you things in between those off hours. You're not really off because you're always on duty kind of thing. Phenomenal experience. I'm so glad that song came on the radio. Whoever was playing it at that time, talk about God's timing.
Yeah.
Wow, super
Yeah.
powerful. For those that might be thinking about it right now or in a dark place, what are some of the things, obviously you talk about music and that song, what are some other things that have really helped you? You've had some therapy for the last 10 years. What has helped you process through to really flip the script in your mind when you have those rough days where you're just feeling off and feeling, not your best self, not your most positive self? What are some things that you've learned or strategies that you've kind of worked through?
Well, what I did is I was in the health and fitness industry for over 30 years.
Yeah.
And I was on a podcast with a friend of mine. That's when we got to talking about the, heavyweight champion of the world and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I started telling him my backstory, but he wanted to hear what I was doing now. So he prompted me. He's like, you know what, you need to write a book. So I wrote a book within like a month and 2 months, and I actually put it out.
Wow.
And it's actually on Amazon right now. But it was very cathartic
Yes.
because I was able to, get my feelings out. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, we talk about journaling and stuff. That
Mhm.
was just a journal that got put out publicly. But it opened up some wounds, but sometimes that's the only way a wound can heal is if you open it up again.
Yes.
And then sometimes, like I had to go back and ask people questions because I was like, listen, I was so drunk, I don't remember. How did this happen? Did it really happen?
Yeah.
And one of the things that happened in the book that I tell everybody when they get the book, because I got arrested, was looking at 5 years for grand larceny. And my aunt and uncle and my stepfather bailed me out, and I didn't know it until this time, until the book came out, that he helped me out. So I had to give him a shout. But journaling, I think, helps out a lot.
Yes.
Because once you see something on paper, it's different. It's kind of like the only difference between a dream and a goal is a goal that's written down and has a deadline.
Yes.
So, journaling helps a lot. And a lot of times I just look out, from where I came from, like where I'm sitting now, I'm 3 miles away from the parking lot that I lived in for a year in my car.
Wow.
And here I am living in a almost $500,000 home, 3 beautiful kids and a beautiful bride. And I realize how good God is. And then sometimes it's kind of like, like somebody said, oh, well, you got the number 8 veteran podcast in the world. But I'm looking at it like, yeah, but I'm not number 1. So sometimes sometimes we forget where we come from, and we're just looking at the future. So sometimes it's good to look back and say, I'm not where I need to be, but I'm so where I used to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I love the journaling aspect. I think that's wonderful. And also being kind of like almost mindful, like you're accepting where you're at, but it's okay to want that next level when the time's right for you. So yes, there are 7 more spaces above you, but there's like 1.5 million behind you. So I'd say you're doing pretty darn good.
But I think it's a lot has to, have to be level-headed. Like I did a Navy SEAL the other day, and he says, the best thing in life, it's called the 2-minute rule. If something great happens to you, celebrate it for 2 minutes. If something happens to you, grieve for 2 minutes and then move. You don't have to stay in, because like I can think, oh, I have a great podcast, but I still got to take out the garbage later. So cool, but you still got to take out the garbage, and you're walking around, following my 14-pound dog picking up her crap. So so you have to stay humble, and I love that song by Tim McGraw. Always stay humble and kind.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that makes you more approachable too, when you have that kind of like humility and just an attitude that you can always get better. I feel like that's opened a lot of doors for me as well. So thank you for that. Those are awesome tips. And I felt the catharticism, however you say that, through writing my book as well. It wasn't really planned to share it out publicly. It was more of like I was going through divorce, and I just needed to have like this process of writing through things. So I definitely agree with you on that. It's so healing to get things out, get your stories out. If you can reframe it in a positive manner, awesome. If it's just a bunch of negative stuff that you eventually burn at a campsite, whatever, like do whatever you need to do.
Well, what happened with the book is I was on another podcast, and the guy says, have you ever watched the movie 8 Mile? And pretty much everybody's seen 8 Mile.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. He's like, I want you to go home, and I want you to watch the last 2 minutes, and I want you to call me back. So I did. I watched it, and I watched it again. I'm like, dude, I don't understand what are you talking about? He's like, I want you to put your book out there, and this way nobody can ever say a bad thing about you again, because you already put it out there.
Yes.
Nobody can
lay
ever
all
say
your dirt out.
Exactly. Nobody could ever say, yeah, you were divorced 2 times. Yeah, but I got a beautiful wife and kids now.
Yeah.
Nobody could ever say, you were a drug addict and an alcoholic. Yeah, but I'm clean and sober now, and I'm changing lives. So now, and once you put all your dirty laundry out there, nobody can really say anything to you, because you already said it all. And it takes the power and puts it back in your court.
Yeah. 100%, 100%. I was talking to one of the veterans that helped protect me this last winter. I was talking to him about that. I was like, whoever got into my computers and like hacked into everything, like they know all my dirt. He's like, are you worried about anything? I said, no, because I've already told everybody in all my blogs and on my posts, I have no secrets. So I really agree with you on that. No one has the power over you if you share it first. So good on you. Good on you.
The good thing is, like me and you, if we're the same people that we're talking here that we are on the outside,
Yeah,
then you got to worry about. But if you're
exactly.
one of those entrepreneurs or one
Yeah.
of those people with the fake Lambos and the fake
Yep.
man, then you're
Mhm.
going to get found out eventually. So
Yes.
just be real in whatever you do.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And I agree with that 100%. And I feel like that's also really a good tie into with community because as we talk about, mental health and keeping positive connections, nobody's going to want to hang around someone that's fake. Like there's so much evidence online. I don't say evidence, but there's so much content that's put out. Like people are so done with the fake sales tactics and the sleazy marketing videos and things. Like just be yourself, be authentic, and you will attract the kinds of people I feel like are going to help you get to that next level. So with that in mind, our second pillar, Move Happy, is really about building strong communities to help with our mental health, help us, combat depression. What are some tips? What are some strategies you've learned either through your time in the military or, in corporate America, to build healthy, strong relationships that you like to share?
Well, I'm a big relationship guy, and now since we're talking, this is where the relationship just begins.
Yeah.
And that, I think, it differentiates between me and a lot of podcasters is because they call me the veteran Joe Rogan now, or veteran Oprah,
Yeah.
because I want to get into a person's story, but I also want to create relationships.
Yeah.
And like I went to a military conference last year, and I warned everybody. I said, "Listen, you're good. Everybody's getting hugs, because that's the kind of guy." So there's these guys that are there. They're like ex Delta Force, ex Navy SEALs,
Mhm, mhm.
and I'm up there hugging them, and they're like, uh, I'm like, I told you, told you.
You warned them.
So to me, relationships are everything in life. You can never have enough friends, and everywhere I go, I have a friend, and it's true that your network is your net worth.
Yes,
For me, I'm a billionaire because of all the people that are in my
I love
circle. Like Hiram, me and him got to talk, and now we're friends and close. So
that.
it's all about building relationships. And for my whole life growing up, I was a lone wolf, and lone wolf sometimes don't get fed.
Yeah,
So
so true.
sometimes you have to, in order to have a friend, you have to learn how to be a friend.
Yeah.
So I'm all about relationships. I think that's the number one thing in my life is just building relationships.
How did you switch from lone wolf to this person who has so many friends everywhere? What was that moment for you? Do you remember?
Yeah, I moved to New Jersey. Now it's 11 years ago to be with my bride. We just
Mm-hmm.
got married. We dated
Oh,
when we were 13, and then we got together
oh,
years later.
oh, that's
And
beautiful.
when I moved here, I only had $50 in my pocket and the clothes on my back.
Mm-hmm.
Credit score like 400,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew nobody here except for my wife, and I had no friends.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when one day I just decided, man, I went to one of my uncle's funerals. I went to two uncles' funerals. Hopefully you have a second if you don't mind me talking about it.
Let it out. We got all the time.
And my one uncle, he was an older gentleman. He was stuck with his family, didn't go out, didn't talk to many people. And when we went to his funeral, the only people there was the immediate family.
Mm-hmm.
And then my other uncle passed away. He was younger, but he was big into church and helping people and changing lives. And they had to have like 3 or 4 services.
Wow.
So I sat down, and I'm sitting at my older uncle's funeral. I'm going, what kind of legacy am I going to leave? Do I have friends? Am I making a difference? And then my friend Gary V, we were talking, and he said, you know what? Your legacy will always be more valuable than your currency.
Amen.
And that's when my life, I started saying, I want to make a difference in this world,
Yes.
and I can't make a difference being locked down in the basement.
Yes.
So that's when I started to reach out and make more friends and be more available for others. Because sometimes you have to be available for others before they become available for you.
Wow.
And now I got friends everywhere.
Yeah, that is so powerful. And isn't it interesting how we can shift our entire lives from the loss of someone close to us? And I feel like a lot of synergies around that too. I lost my father my third day on the job, where this whole Move Happy thing started. Worked in a psych hospital and didn't even know, because he was super quiet at home. But sometimes our professional self is different from our personal self. He was a very quiet, introverted person. He worked basically nights, like he went to bed at 7 and was up at midnight. Standing room of customers from 40 years of selling that were saying nothing but positive things. I mean, they ran out of chairs for him. And that's what shifted for me, saying, I want to change people's lives. I want to leave a legacy like my father did. So I love that, that synergy there. And you're absolutely right. 100%. It's our relationships that really help us strengthen our mental health. I know, just going through a lot of struggles in my own experiences, I didn't feel like I was struggling because I had friends around me. Like, that protected my mental health. And on the opposite was true. If I didn't have, like last year was kind of isolated, got stuck in a state unplanned during the pandemic, and I didn't have any friends here. But I was like, man, let me start doing some online things with my online community through LinkedIn mostly, and that really helped a lot. So great tips, great strategies on that. Third pillar of Move Happy is about movement. I know the military is very strong with fitness, in regards to, protecting our borders and what, life, your professional fitness level is important for the career and whatnot. Transitioning out though of the military, whatnot, how did you stay fit, and what was your favorite thing to do, if that's not the same as right now, to move your body?
Oh, like I said, I was in the health and fitness industry for over 30 years.
Yeah.
I ran $1 a year general nutrition center. I worked with guys from the WWE, Major League Baseball, NFL, world heavyweight boxing champion. And so it was kind of like I had to be in shape, just because, it's kind of like you never want to go to a car dealership and a guy's driving a beat up piece of crap.
Exactly. So you're the marketing, you're the billboard. Yeah. Exactly.
So, I would go to the gym a lot. My fun thing is, I always like to walk. I think walking is so great for me, because that's something that anybody, any age can do.
Yes.
It's very easy on the joints. It's very, easy on the system.
Yeah.
And even if you do it, a half hour a day, you're still getting all the benefits of working out, but it's very low impact.
Yeah.
And, a lot of times I'll just put my earphones in and listen to podcasts. So that's my favorite way of working out as I get older. I want to start into yoga. And I just interviewed a guy last week, and it was such a fun interview. He does something called laughter yoga. And it's pretty interesting. You actually laugh for like 10 minutes straight. And you get the same benefits as working out for an hour and a half.
Heck yes, I love that.
So I was like, you know what? I don't know how I feel about yoga, but I can laugh for 10 minutes.
Right.
So I think walking, I love to swim. I love to swim when I can. And I used to do martial arts, so that's fun. But after losing your eyesight, doing martial arts is not great, because you're going to get knocked. So I think moving, especially if somebody's been out of shape for so long and they want to get back in shape, just walking, I think, is great to do walking. Body weight exercises. You hear a lot of people excuses. I can't afford a gym. I can't afford equipment. Well, the floor is free.
Yeah.
push-ups and sit-ups, you know?
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
whatever makes you happy. Like I said, walking is the thing for me. Other people, they like treadmills, or they might like the Peloton. Whatever you enjoy and are going to continue to keep doing. Because you
Yeah.
see a lot of people, they go to the gym January 2nd through the 5th, and they work out so hard, and then they get delayed muscle onset soreness, and then
Yeah.
they go to the gym.
Yeah. They pull their back and they're
And
gone.
it's different. Do whatever, and even if it's just taking a walk around the block or taking your dog out for a walk,
Yes.
something to get the body moving, because that's when the body heals itself, is
Mhm.
when movement actually helps heal.
Yes, I love that. And great tips and really practical too. I mean, the research now has shifted to more of movement being key to connected to, our overall health and wellness and disease risk factors and things like that, as opposed to exercise. So I think that's good. Walking, we can do that literally anywhere, no matter our budget. So great tips for that. Martial arts. So which specialty in martial arts was your favorite?
Well, before I moved to when I was younger, I got into martial arts, and I would get into tournaments
Uh-huh.
where, um, but you're not supposed to hit anybody. It's supposed to be for points. And then I would get hit in the face, and I would black out, and I'd be punching everybody. So that's when my sense of
Oh,
time got me into MMA. And
oh, cool.
but then I moved to New Jersey. My wife's like, I can't. You're gonna have to retire from fighting, because she probably want, because she's a hot-blooded Sicilian woman, and if I'm getting beat up,
Yes.
she'll probably up in there and beat up the guy. So I had to quit. So it was pretty much just doing mixed martial arts and stuff like that.
That's awesome. I can't wait to meet her. I'm also Sicilian, like a 16th or so, so not that much.
She's
But
amazing. She's amazing, and we've been together 11 years now, and she'll always be known as my bride, just because I honor her, and she's the best thing.
I love that. And you said you met her at 13,
Yep. So she knew me when I was that alcoholic drug addict,
and she,
and she knew me when I got sober. So she knew both sides. She knew the angel and the devil, and
yeah.
she's kind of like, she knows how to calm me down.
Mm-hmm.
That I may be the Hulk, but she helps me become Bruce
Mm-hmm.
Banner.
Mm-hmm.
So
Wow. Love is a powerful thing, isn't it?
yep, and and I think God had His hand in it.
Amen.
Definitely.
That's beautiful. Um, so one thing that I love to do, I would say what fills my love tank is edifying others. And so what I'd love to, I know you talk about your book. What are you really excited about right now that you'd like our listeners to get involved with? How can we support you?
Well, I do have a book out there. Sometimes I even forget it's out there. It's called Hero's Journey from Darkness to Light.
Mhm.
It's 99 cents on Amazon. So if you don't have a book, you got more problems than just buying a book.
Yeah.
Um, and it's my story, but it's also at the end of each chapter, it has a teaching point.
Mhm.
And then the last two chapters, because it's actually a teaching book, the last two chapters are, what addiction is, not what you think it is,
Mm.
and what suicide looks like, and it's not what you think it is. So
Mm.
those are the last two chapters, and all the money, 100% of the proceeds of everything I do, all my merchandise, everything goes to help veterans and first responders struggling with PTSD and TBIs. So I make no money off anything that I do.
That's
That's
so
why
cool.
sometimes I forget to promote it, because I don't even realize it's there.
That is so cool. I love that. And let's talk about this hat you've got. I see the word coach on
Yep, the
there.
comeback coach, but it's not the hat. Okay. A lot of people ask, I ask everybody to ask me about it, because if you will not allow me to wear a hat on the show, I will not come on. And I've actually turned down a bunch of top rated podcasts because they won't let me wear a hat. And it's not because I'm going bald, obviously. Uh,
You've got a lot of hair there.
yeah, I got the Patrick Swayze thing going on.
Yeah.
But about 6 years ago, when I first started helping people, me and my wife had a dinner. We go out to dinner a lot. Guys, if you guys are watching this, I'm going to give you a tip. If you don't date your wife, another man will.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we go out for dinner. We went to the movies, and we went to go see American Sniper with Chris Kyle. And so I got so emotional at the end of that because, he died helping another veteran struggling with PTSD.
Yeah.
That I got home, I got in touch with Chris's wife and his family, and I said, from now on, every show that I do, I'm going to wear a hat in honor of your husband, and just so he doesn't get forgotten. But not only that, but just to remind people that you're not alone.
Yes.
And there are some people that are willing up to giving your own life to help you get out of that dark place.
Yep.
And that's why I do that in honor of Chris and his family. And just to let people know that, there's some people that can and up to will give their life just to make sure that you can get out of that dark place.
Yep, absolutely.
So that's why.
I love that. And I was like surprised no one's asked me if they could wear a hat or not. So I was like, you can wear whatever you want to wear. Like, absolutely, come as you are. Like, I love that. And let's talk a little bit more about you. You have a summit coming up.
Yep, it's called Today I Decide. Because the three most important words in English language are today I decide. Because once you make a decision, then all you have to do is act upon it. Now, a lot of people will be like, well, I don't understand. What does that mean?
Yeah.
All right. How many people have ran over a squirrel? Me.
Yeah.
Almost everybody has.
Yeah.
And the reason why most of the time the squirrel gets ran over is because he did not make a decision. He stood in the middle of the road where he could have went left and lived. He could have went right and lived, but he decided not to make a decision, and he got his ass ran over.
Yep.
So sometimes you have to make a decision. Yeah. And once you make a decision, then all you have to do is act upon it. So the hardest part is making a decision. After that, you just have to act upon it. So that's why the summit that's why we called it that. And the way that came about, I was in another veteran summit, and I told the story about Memorial Day 2012, and I put it on YouTube, and it went viral. And that's when everybody's like, you know what? We need to have a mental health summit. So that's when all my friends got together and said, all right, let's do it. And let's make it free for everybody.
That's awesome.
So that's how it all started. And it's going to be next Saturday. It's going to, if somebody wants to, they can actually just hashtag Today I Decide. It'll come up on Facebook and Zoom, and it'll be free for everybody. It's an all-day event. So come in your PJs, bring your coffee, and just hang out. We have some great speakers. I'm speaking, but I'm not a great speaker. And we're talking to some women. I mean, it's going to get deep because some of the women we have are talking about military sexual trauma, first responders. So we have something for everybody. And it's called the Mind, the Body, and the Spirit Summit. So we're going to be we have people talking about yoga, talking about the body, how, synergistically.
Yeah.
If one thing is out of whack, mind, body, or spirit, everything is out of whack.
Yes.
So it's just a day just to come in and hang out, get some information, and maybe make some new friends. And it's free.
Yeah, that is so cool. So you said next Saturday. So this coming is the 3rd of April, or is it the 10th?
April 3rd. Yeah.
Awesome. And how do they sign up for it? The hashtag?
They can go to their toolbar and just hashtag Today I Decide.
Cool.
And it'll up on how to get tickets, and the tickets are free. So it's
just to register.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Awesome.
And also probably the next day or two, if people are interested, I'll be doing one-on-ones if anybody has any questions or needs any help. And of course, it's all free. I don't charge anybody anything for any of my health, fitness, or any kind of assessments. It's all free.
Love that. And I always love to close out the show with something a little bit personal. You've shared a lot of personal stuff already, but something random and impromptu to help our audience kind of get to know you a little bit better. So you mentioned always date your wife, fellas, otherwise she will find someone else to date her. What is your all-time favorite date you've ever taken your wife on? Either you organized or she did.
Okay, it doesn't sound great. It's not very for me, it was romantic. For my wife, it was because, well, when we first met, we were both in junior high.
Mm-hmm.
So we actually went back to junior high, walked the high school grounds, and
Oh,
went to the same pizzeria that we went to and had lunch that we did when we were 13. So that was special to me because it was just going back and from where it all began. And just
yeah.
so that would, I have to say, would be the coolest. And maybe the second one is when we went on our honeymoon to Walt Disney, and that was
Ooh.
the magic. So, you know, other than that, sometimes, even if we don't go anywhere, like we'll be sitting on a couch
Mm-hmm.
and she'll be playing her video game and I'm playing my video game, but we're playing together.
Yeah.
So, sometimes it's just spending that time with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And guys, if you're listening, even girls, there's a difference between listening and hearing.
Yeah.
So when your spouse talks to you, put your phone down and look them in the eyes and talk to them.
Yeah.
That just let them know that they're loved and they're heard. So instead of just being listened to, just a tip.
Absolutely. I love that. And I think that's beautiful, the nostalgia of going back to where it all began. That's super romantic. I love it. Well, thank you. This has been super fun. Would love to have you back on the show in the future to, continue supporting you and seeing where you're at on your journey. This has been awesome.
Oh, thank you so much. And I just want to say thank you so much. And for you guys that are listening, just remember, everybody loves a comeback story. And today it's your day, because everybody loves a comeback story. Because if Rocky didn't win the title in Rocky 2, there would have been no Rocky 3.
Yep. That's
So it's
true.
your day to come back, and you can come back from anything
Yes.
as long as you have that mindset that I'm not going to quit.
Yes. Amen. Awesome.